Did you guys know that America has the highest incarceration rate in the world? With over 2 million people behind bars, the United States holds nearly 25% of the global prison population. This is a shocking statistic considering that America only comprises about 4% of the world's population. The US prison population has grown nearly 500% since 1973. So America has 6 times more prisoners than it should compared to the world. The US has a 629 incarceration rate, meaning 629 people are in jail for every 100,000 people. America has the highest incarceration rate even ahead of such peaceful and harmonious countries such as Rwanda, El Salvador, and Cuba. According to the Prison Policy Institute, there are 1,566 state prisons. California, Texas, New York, etc. 98 federal prisons, 3,116 local jails, meaning city or county jails, 1,323 juvenile correctional facilities, juvenile hall or juvie. That's what we called it when I was young. 181 immigration detention facilities, and 80 Indian county jails. Man, that's a lot. Did you guys know that there were that many prisons and prisoners in America? I sure didn't. I was really shocked at those huge numbers. Here in California, I'm aware of some notorious prisons in the state like Folsom and Pelican Bay State Prison. And in New York, I know of Rikers and Sing Sing Maximum Security Prison. I know of these places because of movies and TV shows. I was a big fan of Law and Order when I was growing up. Law and Order would always show criminals being sent to these jails and showing the horrible living conditions there. People getting shanked and beat up by other cellmates and even prison guards. So why do we have so many prisons in America? The easy answer to this question is that we have a lot of prisons in America because we as a nation have a lot of prisoners. We need these prisons and jails to house criminals. But this begs the question, why do we have so many criminals? One of the main reasons why we have so many people in prisons is the war on drugs. Over the past few decades, the US has waged an aggressive campaign against drug offenses, leading to an influx of non-violent offenders filling up the prisons. Prior to the war on drugs, most people in prison were in for violent crimes such as murder, rape, assault, or robbery. People selling small amounts of marijuana are now being arrested for felony drug distribution. Young teenagers are selling crack cocaine, meth, or fentanyl to help pay for groceries for their families. Or disillusioned members of our society are addicted to hard drugs and can't function properly and ultimately are arrested for drug possession. Make no mistake about it, the government has cracked down hard on drug offenders. The number of prisons in America has skyrocketed, but so has the number of prisoners due to the war on drugs. Another contributing factor is the tough on crime mentality that has dominated American politics. Harsh sentencing laws such as mandatory minimums have resulted in longer prison terms for even minor offenses. Here in California, we had the so-called 3 strikes law, where a criminal under 3rd crime conviction can be sentenced to life in jail. Other states have followed California's stance on crime with stiff penalties for repeat offenders. According to the Sentencing Project, a non-profit group, 1 in 7 people in prison are currently serving life sentences. Also, at least 113 million adults in the US, roughly 45%, have a family member who has been incarcerated, and 79 million people have a criminal record. revealing the ripple effects of locking up millions of people every day. Instead of focusing on treatment and rehabilitation, our prisons are made to be a deterrence or punishment. We are programmed to be afraid to go to jail because we could get raped, beat up, or killed in prison. American prisons have become revolving doors, where prisoners come in and come back to prison after a few months to a few years. Without adequate resources, prisoners struggle to reintegrate into society, increasing their chances of reoffending. For example, Germany and other Western European countries focus more on rehabilitation rather than punishment. Prisoners get their own room with their own keys, their own private bathroom and kitchen. They're even allowed to have pets. In these prisons, they learn a job trade so they can get a job when they finally get out. Prisoners are treated with respect and treated like human beings. Prisoners are forced to reflect on their bad behavior, and there's hope that they can change their ways in the future. In these prisons in Europe, they're trying to change the cycle of violence and crime. In Germany, a second-degree murder sentence is usually given 5 to 15 years, with many offenders getting paroled early for good behavior. Comparatively, a second-degree murder sentence in California would be given 15 years to life. It is clear that Europe gives lighter sentences to criminals in order to rehabilitate the prisoners. Europeans have a different way of thinking in their criminal justice system. Europeans want to prepare prisoners to reintegrate into society, so they won't commit more crimes and return to prison again. Preventing prisoners from returning to prison is good for society and saves money in the long run. America doesn't help prisoners at all after they're done serving their prison sentences. When a person gets out of prison in America, they have no skills or ability to survive as a law-abiding citizen. The only choice that former convicts have is to commit more crimes and to go back to prison again. So the cycle repeats itself over and over again. In addition, the American prison system is not financially sustainable and is corrupt. There are people behind the scenes that are profiting from the current system and want the status quo. Political scientists coined a term called the prison industrial complex, which illustrates the many relationships between institutions of punishment such as prisons, jails, detention facilities, and psychiatric hospitals, and the various businesses that benefit from them. Building contractors that build prisons want to continue building prisons. For-profit prisons want more prisons to be built in order to keep their business going, watching supervising prisoners. The prison guard unions want the prison population to grow in order to get pay increases every year. The more prisoners there are, the more prison guards can be hired. A study from a nonprofit organization found that prison spending in the US is much higher than spending on education. Almost every state in America spends more money per prisoner than it does per student in public schools. And in 20 states, the difference between per inmate and per student spending is more than $24,000. For example, in California, the state spends $64,642 per prisoner on prison costs and $11,495 per pupil on education. Yeah, you heard that right. The amount of money California is spending on its prisoners on a per inmate basis is more than a year's tuition at Harvard. It's time to rethink our approach to criminal justice. We need to invest in alternatives to incarceration, such as community-based programs and rehabilitation services, to reduce the prison population. A good first step would be to decriminalize drug use. This would alleviate the prison population significantly. People that are addicted to drugs should be sent to drug rehab, not in prison. Second step would be to eliminate harsh prison sentences to repeat offenders. Repeat offenders should be rehabilitated and not harshly punished in order for them to stop the cycle of criminal behavior. The American prison system should focus on keeping criminals out of prison, not focus on bringing more prisoners in. We as a society need to eliminate the prison industrial complex. It is evil. Profiting from people in prison is not right. Prisoners are already suffering as it is. It's not cool to make money off of people in jail. Also, it's not cool to make money by keeping people in jail. We as Americans must also spend more money on education instead of spending more money on prisons. It's not right when more money is spent on California prisoners than for students. By doing so, we can create a safer society and provide better opportunities for those who have made mistakes. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking content. Bye.